And joining me in studio now is Mr. Dean James. He's the CEO of IMGG, stock symbols IMGG. Hey, Dean, it's good to see you again.
Good to see you too, Don.
It's been a little while.
It has been a while.
Now, I know that this week there's a lot going on with you personally, but I wanted to, before we get to that, I wanted to bring up with what's going on with IMGG, because I think the last time we spoke with you, you had filed your supplemental answer to the FDA, and now you're kind of in that waiting period. Do you have any update for us on that?
Well, sure. We've had a couple conference calls, emails, and correspondence back and forth with the FDA. I've sent them some supplemental information. It's going really well. I feel very confident that the process is moving forward. There's been no real negative response to what we've sent. It's just been, there was a lot of information that was sent and that they're going through right now, and again, some supplemental information that they had requested, but very, very positive steps forward, I think.
Do you still think you're dealing with the issue that your device is new and there's really nothing to compare it to, so that they can't say, okay, this is just like that, so we can approve it based on that? Do you think you're still dealing with that situation?
Well, actually, I always thought that's sort of what's been the biggest problem. The biggest hurdle is when you're doing something so innovative, even though it's off-the-shelf technology, it's hard for them to get the comparative analysis sometimes. So, I mean, we couldn't really compare our device with one single device. I mean, there's nothing really to compare it to. So we had to pick a couple different devices and compare those and go through those separate analogies, so to speak, to give them a feel of how our device isn't really that different than what's out there in the technology world, in the sense of how we create radiation and the imagery that we create.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess what it's really coming down to is the radiation aspect of it. They want to make sure that it's safe. They want to make sure that it falls within guidelines. Is that kind of?
No, we're well within the range.
Okay.
I mean, it's a very safe. If anything, that's more, I think, to our advantage that our lower dose range. It's just that. The analogy of, that we do fluoroscopy, 3D fluoroscopy, is a little different because it is such a new kind of imaging modality. To relate it to standard fluoroscopy is a little difficult because you're acquiring your imagery and you're putting it into a construct in less than a second. So there's nothing really out there that does that. There's 3D devices or devices that do 3D post-processing, but it takes them several minutes or even an hour to acquire the imagery and another several minutes to display it in a 3D form. So for them to be able to take that leap is, I think, been the difficult part for them, especially for having something to compare it to.
Okay. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of the interview, it's a big weekend for you folks.
Oh, yes.
We had you and Brian Altunian together on the show a while back with your other venture called Alliance Acquisitions. You got a big party in Beverly Hills this week.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be fun. It's a red carpet gala. It's going to be at the Beverly Hilton in a club called Plush. It's going to be over 300 people there.
Wow.
Some celebrities may show up. It's just going to be a fun event. It's a launch party for Alliance, and giving potential shareholders an idea of what it is that we're doing, and others that have been following us, and friends and family. It's going to be a great event.
Well, it's fantastic. Make sure you get some video of that, and we'll certainly put that on the program here at a later date. Again, so the company is IMGG, the stock symbols IMGG. Dean, thanks for the update, and enjoy yourself this weekend.
That's a pleasure. Thanks, Don.